Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Spot coming at you with another installment of Mutant Monday. So, last week we covered the first part of the Messiah Trilogy, Messiah Complex. Today, moving on to the second part of the actual trilogy, Messiah War. First, where we left off, the first mutant birth since M-Day occurred. The Marauders, the Purifiers, and the X-Men pretty much tripped over themselves trying to get to the child. However, Cable beat them all to the punch, and eventually took the baby to the future at the behest of Cyclops. Hot on his trail was Bishop, who was revealed intended to kill the Messiah child, as she's responsible for his future. Well, the future that he grew up in. Also, before escaping into the time stream, Bishop inadvertently killed Professor X. However, things he did on purpose included destroying the X Mansion by using nano-sentinels to take over the ONE's Sentinel mechs as well as the pilots. So, yeah. Still kind of a bad guy. So, what happened after Messiah Complex? Well, the X-Men relocated to San Francisco. Cyclops continued to send out Wolverine's new X-Force on various missions, going after usually human supremacists that were taking advantage of the lessened numbers of mutants to further their anti-mutant agendas. During their early missions, post Messiah Complex, Wolfsbane was captured and brainwashed, leading to her attacking and horribly injuring Angel, and revealing that the Archangel aspect of him is still inside of him and can take over when necessary, or when Angel wishes it to. This led to Archangel joining the team, and obviously Wolfsbane leaving the team. Hepzibah was injured and therefore benched for recovery purposes. Domino, member of previous iteration of X-Force, joined the team. The teleporting mutant Vanisher was blackmailed into joining the team primarily by X-Men healer Elixir, placing an inoperable tumor in Vanisher's brain. The mission they were on most recently before Messiah War had them going up against the Sapien League, who were planning to bring out a more weaponized, further weaponized version of the Legacy virus to use against the remaining mutants. And they had found some mutants the Sapien League had captured when they were sent to the future. As for Cable, he took Hope, the mutant baby, into the future and raised her. Constantly jumping forward in time, though, never staying in one time period too long, except for a brief period when he, I wouldn't necessarily say married a woman, but at least lived with a woman, and that woman is largely is basically the mother figure in Hope's life up to this point. However, their time travel device is damaged to the point where now Cable can only use it to travel forward in time, which will make returning with Hope a bit tricky, to say the least. Also, hot on their trail is, of course, Bishop. And So we begin. Messiah War. Now, yeah, I'm skipping forward in the trade because there were a few issues of Cable before Messiah War that are included. The important parts are referenced in the story, to be perfectly honest, though. So we get Cyclops thinking about what happened in Cooperstown, Alaska, and we also see kind of the Purifier assault on the hospital, as well as Cable saving Hope, before moving on to Vegas in the near future. Bishop has gone to a bar called Betty Noir's. Apparently he's looking for a specific patron of the bar. The only one still living, in fact. Bishop has a proposition for this mysterious stranger. And he'll give this stranger whatever, or what he wants the most. He then explains what's happened in a biased manner, going on to add that Cable has declared war upon the future, claiming that he's turned against the X-Men, he nearly killed Xavier, or well, so on and so forth. We also get further recollections about what's going on with Cable, showing his various jumps throughout the future, including Hope with Cable and her mother, and Hope and Cable at her surrogate mother's grave. And apparently X-Force actually briefly, for a moment, caught up to Bishop, but Bishop managed to escape into the time stream. It's then revealed just who it is, this mysterious stranger that Bishop is talking to is, to be none other than Strife, the clone of Cable. In the present, Beast and Cyclops are at the time displacement device that the X-Men now have, and Cyclops lets it be known that he's at least sending Logan into the future, with Beast explaining that, well, that makes one of the 7 that I know. They have a brief argument about what they're doing, and with Beast mainly wondering if Cyclops is sending X-Force to protect Hope and help Cable, or to execute Bishop. And so, in 2973 New York City, X-Force arrives. Most of them covered in blood from their recent tussle with the Sapien League, and in mid-fight, no less. They're also not happy with the fact that they had to rescue their friends are no longer able to rescue their friends, as far as they can tell. Elixir decides to say to hell with the mission and try and go back and rescue his friends by removing the time device. However, he's still there. Wolverine rather forcibly tells Elixir to shut his cake hole and do what he's told. And they'll worry about saving everyone else once this mission's done. Wolverine then tells Vanisher to scout ahead, but for some reason Vanisher can't teleport. And then he gets shot in the neck. The team takes cover while Elixir heals the gunshot wound. And the shooter is revealed to be none other than Deadpool. Still alive and probably even crazier in the future than he is in the present. He knows some things about what's going on, but, well, not too clearly. Apparently, nearly 1,000 years will do that to a crazy person's brain. Wolverine managed to track Cable down by scent to the remains of the UN building, where he finds Hope, and is promptly ambushed by Cable, who is equally promptly ambushed by X-23. The rest of the team then shows up. Cable and Wolverine have some disagree over what should be done, with Cable claiming that the X-Force has basically walked right into a trap. Wolverine figures Bishop the Cable means Bishop, but no. It's worse. As Cable shows X-Force a city of celestial technology, implying apocalypse. And so, also a brief Strife strike files. Wolverine, who is largely shit upon by Strife, but at the same time, Strife acknowledges that, yeah, power-wise, he's nothing compared to me. But woe to the person who underestimates him, because he will not stop, and that's what makes him most dangerous. Then, of course, Cable, Bishop, Deadpool, X-Force, and Apocalypse. We move on to Chapter 2. X-Force and their X-Force, Cable, Hope, and Deadpool are not exactly pleased to discover that it looks like Apocalypse is up and running right now. Deadpool goes over how he spent the last almost 1,000 years. Like I said, he went crazier. And for Deadpool, that's saying something. And then Strife found him, and he started working for. He basically forced Deadpool to work for him. Deadpool claims that, well, yes, he's been working for Strife of late. Well, Strife's too far gone for him. Which, for Deadpool, again, that's saying something. While continuing to prattle on to X-Force, Strife and Bishop are looking for X-Force, Cable, and so on. Each considering their own agendas as well, with Strife also remembering his vendetta against Apocalypse as well. Furthermore, Bishop is fairly certain that Strife is planning to betray him, but Bishop doesn't mind. Strife gets to kill Cable, Bishop gets to kill Hope. It all works out. Back with X-Force, they're continuing to well, disagree over how to do things when they get attacked by some of Strife's flying bladed henchmen. Which brings us to part 3, which begins with the fight between X-Force and the flying bladed henchmen. In the middle of the fight, however, Archangel hears something. At least, well, he thinks he hears something. Also during the fight, Vanisher, Elixir, and Hope make a point of getting out of the line of fire, as they're a support crew and or assets. So Archangel flies off in search of the voice he heard in his head. Strife and Bishop then go to meet X-Force. And it does make for quite the battle. Strife and the Bishop win handedly, taking Warpath and Hope prisoner. Archangel, meanwhile, has discovered the source of the voice in his head. The Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. Apocalypse. Weakened. But pleased to see Archangel. Which brings us to chapter 3. Strife is trying to interrogate Warpath, but, well, Warpath is resisting the torture. Strife is also making Hope watch, while Bishop watches from the shadows, waiting for his moment. Apocalypse asks that Archangel fulfill his destiny, and Archangel mistakenly believes that Apocalypse wants Archangel to kill him. However, Apocalypse had something different in mind. Meanwhile, X-Force is planning to, well, raid Strife's Citadel and rescue Hope and Warpath, and also figure out whatever, and take down whatever it is that's keeping them from teleporting and or time traveling. Meanwhile, Bishop briefly takes his shot at Hope, but is stopped by Strife. Of course, Strife presumes that Bishop's betraying him and trying to kill him. During the fight between the two, Strife realizes the truth, though. Strife isn't Bishop's target. Hope is. Back with Apocalypse and Archangel. Archangel manages to basically, no, I'm not going to become you. And I'm going to leave you here to suffer. And so he leaves. Outside Strife's Citadel, X-Force is split up into two groups. One being the primary assault, consisting of Cable, Wolverine, and Elixir, who's been given a gun to, be useful. And more than just the fact that he's a healer and, Cable can't heal. As they make their way in, Hope pulls Strife's mask off and immediately mistakes Strife for Cable. Which brings us to part 4. Strife has fallen into a fatherly role rather easily, with Warpath trying to warn her that it's not Cable. Warpath is also finally able to break free of the device he's been imprisoned in and attacks Strife. Bishop then comes to and meanwhile, the secondary team, consisting of X-23, Domino, Deadpool, and Vanisher, are trying to make sure that the team can, escape. Back in the Adirondacks, Warren goes back and forth from Archangel to Angel and back to Archangel. Back with Strife, Hope, Bishop, and Warpath. Strife largely dismantles Bishop's cybernetic arm, while the secondary team makes their way into the Citadel. Meanwhile, however, Cable has made it to Strife's throne room. And the fight between the two begins again, with Wolverine eventually jumping in. Elixir also trying to use his death touch on Strife, but it's not as effective for some reason. Archangel decides he'll actually do something for Apocalypse, because, well, Apocalypse might actually be useful right now. He gives Apocalypse some of the feathers from his biometal wings. Apocalypse then absorbs them and says that once upon a time he would have considered what Angel just did as a sign of weakness. But today, they both go to the same place, do the same thing. And he then suggests that Angel and Apocalypse kill Strife together. Which brings us to part 5, I think, 6. Strife is seemingly victorious in his battle with X-Force and Bishop. Wolverine, Warpath, and Cable all lay on the floor, unconscious. Bishop with his cybernetic arm largely destroyed. And Hope makes a break for it. Meanwhile, the secondary team discovers the source of the Chronal Net. A former student of Xavier's named Kaiden. In Strife's throne room, both Bishop and Cable begin to stir. While Strife goes after Hope, meaning to raise her himself. Bishop and Cable begin their tussle once again, with Wolverine getting involved as well. However, Wolverine did kind of get his more human side pushed to the very, very back. However, Cable's able to help him. But that allowed Bishop to manage to chase after Strife. Angel and Apocalypse arrive, and Apocalypse armors up. The secondary members of X-Force are debating how to handle Kaiden, while we now have Bishop and Strife duke it out, and Wolverine joins in against Strife, as does Cable. However, Strife does make use of the fact that Wolverine has got half a dozen knives coming out of his hands and swings Wolverine while he has his claws out, and uses them to not only to injure both Cable and Bishop. Deadpool then tries to stop Strife and gets torn in half for it. As things pick back up, the battle against Strife rages on. X-23 talks to Kaiden. Remembering the good times they had before Domino shoots Kaiden, with Domino then apologizing profusely, like, "Hey, look, I know she's your friend, but that's what we had to do." Meanwhile, during the battle against Strife, it does appear Strife is looking to very much be the winner until Archangel and Apocalypse arrive. Now that the Chrononet is down, Vanisher immediately takes off his wristband and ends up in the ruins of the Xavier Institute in present day. Archangel and Apocalypse go after Strife. Bishop goes after Cable. Wolverine goes after Bishop. And when all's said and done, Strife is defeated. Apocalypse demands that, or Apocalypse moves to take Hope. And Warren, Angel, convinces him to change his mind. He's saying, "I spared your life. Now I get her life in return." Apocalypse agrees to this. Warren hands her off to Cable. Apocalypse takes Strife up to become Apocalypse's vessel. X-Force make their way back to New York before returning to the present. However, X-23 has another mission. And that is where in the epilogue, Bishop arrives back in the near future at Betty Noir's shortly after him and Strife left. Mainly planning mainly to fix his arm. And, of course, find Hope again. And that is where Messiah War ends. And that's it for this week, for this installment of Mutant Monday. Next week we'll be covering the finale of the Messiah Trilogy, Second Coming. The week after that we'll be covering the side stories, which were collected in the collected as Second Coming Revelations. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long, rock hard, and be safe, everyone.